If you watch The Grudge from early 2020, then you need to purge every thought of that dumpster fire out of your head before you even begin to attempt to watch the Netflix original series, Ju-on Origins. Once you do that, here's the most important thing you need to know. Ju-on Origins is not a prequel to the movies. This new series follows the idea of the curse. Now, knowing that, and knowing that it's not a prequel to the movies, is it worth checking out? A paranormal investigator follows many incidences of violence that seem to be tied to a particular location and span many years. So like I said at the very beginning, if you go into this series thinking that it is truly a prequel to the Ju-on series of films, then you're first off going to be confused, and then you're going to be disappointed. I watched all 6 episodes waiting for the tie-in, waiting to see glimpses of the boy or hearing that throat little I can't even do it. And still I waited as the season concluded. Now this really does become more of a haunted house thriller. Sure, we do get to see the curse in action, and that's kind of cool to watch and cool to see, and because if you've seen the movies, any of them, you kind of know what's going on, that when some violence happens to a person in a location, an evil curse attaches then to that location, and then it can follow people or it can torment. And that's the same in this, that they still retained that original idea. We also get to visit the Ju-on house, which is a nice element to keep in this series. Now it is a quick watch because, like I said, there's 6 episodes. Each of them are under 30 minutes. And the pace of this is patient and slow burning, but it's not boring. I mean, it does move along. It really works to build some anticipation and some good tension over the course of the show. They work in some really good creepy moments, and thankfully there aren't any jump scares. I mean, I was more weirded out by things that I was seeing than scared. This is definitely more of a psychological thriller with a little bit of horror elements than your straight out just horror and scary movie, or scary series for that matter. As each episode begins, we do get to find out what year it is. The show itself spans several years, and so it's nice to have an anchoring point at the beginning of each episode so that we know where we are in time. But even that, it still felt a tiny bit jumpy, like maybe we were missing little bits and pieces here. Maybe that was just me because I was anticipating it really leading up to the climax or to tie in directly to the movies. So I'm sitting here the entire time trying to figure out, how does this connect? I was a little surprised at the amount of blood and gore at this series. Now, the violence itself didn't bother me. I mean, it fit in the context of what we were seeing, especially when you wrap in how the curse is created and what it attaches itself to and how it manifests. But I don't think that I was expecting to see that level of blood and just the up-close violence that they demonstrated. It did look realistic for the most part, which really added a dark vibe to the entire thing. There are a couple scenes that could be nightmare fuel with this creepy baby. I mean, the way that they execute it is just, it's wrong. And it really works. And to go along with that, the visuals in this are done really well. I mean, like I said, there's no jump scares, but I love how they have little things in the background blurred out. So did I really see that? Am I sure that I saw that? Or we do see something move, but we can't necessarily tell what it is. And I really appreciate that, because what that does is that ups the level of suspense, the level of tension that we feel in this without just being cheap. There was, though, one distinct moment where the visuals were absolutely horrendous. I mean, it looked like they took footage from an old VHS, then kind of zoomed in so that it was really pixelated. I mean, it was like the worst green screen job you could ever imagine. Thankfully, that was the only time in the entire show, and it was just for a brief moment, but it really did stand out as absolutely terrible. I liked a lot of the actors in this, but really the paranormal investigator, Odajima, I appreciated him the most. And he's really the person that we get to see consistently throughout the entire show. He's quietly odd, but he's also very observant, and he brings his past into it as well. So he's solving his own mystery as this goes along and unfolding more of the mystery for us as viewers. And you can definitely tell that there is more going on in his head that he is processing, that he's letting on, or that he's letting us know. I do get the sense that there's going to be another season of this because it does end on a mild cliffhanger. We have a lot of questions that are still unanswered as the season concludes, but you can definitely tell how everything that we have seen, and as it's going along, it really does set up and tie in to the lore of the movies. even if it isn't a direct prequel to those movies. As long as you go into this show with the understanding that this is a standalone show, that it does tie in to the lore of those awesome movies, except for the 2020 version, which is just garbage. Let's not even talk about that. But I really think that you can get a lot of enjoyment and some good chills and thrills out of this show. There's sex but no nudity, a lot of profanity, and some gory violence. I give Ju-on Origins 3.5 out of 5 couches. What's your favorite haunted house themed show or movie? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.